Hola guys, Deja Perez back with another edition of What's Poppin', the podcast on 93.9 WKYS. So today I have my good new friend, Tiaudra. So tell everyone about yourself.
So, my name is Tiaudra Taylor. I actually go by the name on social media, Coach T.
Okay.
I am a certified international life coach.
Yikes,
So,
okay.
in a nutshell, basically what I do is I help individuals, couples, and families transition through some of the most difficult times in their life.
Wow.
Yes.
How did you get started with the life coach and how long have you been a life coach?
Well, this is a pretty cool story. So, I became a mom at the age of 14.
Yikes.
So a lot of people counted me out back then. There were periods where I counted myself out, to be honest. And I went on to have my daughter at 19. So by the age of 19, I was a mother of two.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Had one at 14.
Okay.
And then by the age of 19, I had my daughter. So I have a son and a daughter.
Okay.
And I would honestly have to say that during my early 20s, I went through a period of just being lost, not knowing my purpose in life, not loving myself enough. I had my fair share of toxic relationships.
Haven't we all?
But the great thing is, a lot of the things that I coach on is stuff that I've experienced.
Okay.
I say this all the time. I feel like you can't teach further than you learn.
That's fair.
And I believe that every single thing that I went through coming up as a teenage mom, all the scrutiny, even to this day, because my son and I were 14 years apart. So when you see a 21-year-old walking with me, he hates it because he's like, everybody thinks you're my girlfriend. So you still get that scrutiny because people still ask me, well, how old are you? But it forced me to grow up fast. So long story short, after I had my daughter, Kayla, I decided to go back to school. So I took up psychology, graduated in 2016.
Congratulations.
Thank you. With my degree in psychology.
Okay.
But life coaching was not something that I had in my radar at all. It was God appointed only. I didn't even know much about the profession when I took up psychology. I knew I wanted to motivate people. I knew it was a God-given gift of mine. And my sisters, whoever it was that needed help, I just, somehow the Holy Spirit would use me, and I knew the words to say. So I knew he had a purpose for me in that field, but I wasn't quite sure. So back in, I would say about 10 years ago, God would wake me up at 2:00 in the morning. And he would give me words. He would just say words, and it would come clear as day in the middle of the night. So I'm like, and I'd go back to sleep like, I'm tripping. I don't know what's going on. And then finally, after a couple of weeks, I said, let me start writing this stuff down. So I started there. I started motivating online. Fast forward, I would say in 2016, shortly after my graduation, I started studying. Well, prior to my graduation, I was studying life coaching with my elective courses.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I realized that in the state of Maryland, you can be a self-proclaimed life coach, business coach, but I decided to get my certification. So I sought out a life coaching institution.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. See, it's one of those professions. It's kind of cool because a lot of people do not know much about life coaching.
Right.
And I think it creates a challenge for me. But thanks to Ayana and Tony Gaskins and fun people like that, it's getting up there. People are starting to learn a little bit about it. But long story short, I got my life coaching certification in 2016, and the rest is history. So it's literally God chose me for the profession.
Wow.
I didn't think of it. It wasn't something that I dreamed of doing. I really didn't feel like I was worthy because of my background. I'm a teen mom. You know, I've made so many mistakes, and I questioned God on so many days. Like, are you sure this is for me? But I feel like you can relate when you're real, and you can relate when you've made some of the same mistakes. So that is how it came about.
So what is the process like? So I am in some sort of crises and I come see you, or what inspires someone to want to go see a life coach?
Well, okay, so typically, if you're coming to see a life coach, you're coming because you're unhappy with some aspect of your life. So typically I start there because happiness, it should never be circumstance dependent.
True.
And I believe that's why many of us walk around unhappy, because we have these preconceived notions that when I get this promotion, when I get this husband, when I lose this weight, and we never address the mental aspect of it. And I work on that. That's
Okay.
what I've studied. That's what I still read, and I study so much about the mind, most importantly, the subconscious way of thinking, because 88% of how we react to situations, 88% of how we perceive situations is coming from our lower brain, prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is where your subconscious mind is at.
Okay.
You don't think of it, you just react. So just to rewind a little bit, typically the person that comes to see a life coach, it's an average person like you and I.
Okay.
They're just looking for a forward way of thinking. And what that means is just trying to figure out, how do I get from where I am now to where I want to be? And that's what we call the forward way of thinking. Just on the opposing end, a psychologist would focus more so on genetically psychological disorders, anxiety, depression, things of that nature.
Okay.
I don't deal with that. I can deal in situational depression, but as far as chemical imbalance, I don't deal with that. I've studied it, I understand it, but it's just not what God called me to do. So it's going to be the average individual that just needs that second pair lens to help them get unstuck.
And so is there like a time frame, or like, okay, I have this issue, I want to do whatever, right? And I come see you. Is it 6 weeks? Is it 6 months? Is it 6 years? Like, how long? It doesn't seem like you would know up front.
Well, you probably wouldn't know up front. It would depend on the client. So every client coach situation is going to be personalized. So it depends on the person. I would hope, because I'm not money hungry, I do this because I enjoy it. So I would hope if I could talk to you today and get you on the right path, I'm fulfilled. And I honestly feel proud when I do that, because I've done that at jobs. And girl, let's just sit down and talk for 5 minutes, and it really made a difference. And that's what it's so rewarding to me. It's more than money. It's more than anything. It brings so much joy. And so I definitely feel like it's going to be a situation where it depends on the person. But more importantly, everything that we are experiencing is going to start with the mind.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of thought processes.
And baggage up there.
A lot of baggage in that subconscious mind that we're not aware of. Some of these things that we learned as children, some of the ways that we've learned how to perceive situations, how to react.
Or cope.
Oh my gosh, cope through situations, stem from what we learned when we were kids. So now we have this unconscious memory, and we're constantly reacting to new situations with this old memory. And so that's why you have people that get stuck in repetitive cycles of repeating the same lessons over and over again, getting stuck, not knowing how to move past that breakup, not knowing how to overcome that challenge of losing weight or wherever it may be, because they're not addressing the mental aspect of it. And that's my job.
Okay.
That's what I go for, the mind. So it depends. If they have a lot of clutter there and we need to rewire some thoughts, because it's really a practice. For you to undo these subconscious thoughts, that it's a memory. It's like you tying your shoe. You don't have to think about it anymore. You just do it. So in order to undo these thoughts, you actually have to consciously work on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you find that people start the process really excited, like new year, new me, I'm gonna go get a life coach, I'm gonna change my life, I'm gonna do this, and then when it's time to put in the work, they quit?
Sometimes. Of course you have, I would say you more so have people that sometimes we feel like we know it all.
Yeah.
And whenever we're in a predicament where we feel like we know it all, there's no room for growth. You can't learn. I can never say I have all the answers. I can't even say that I would be a perfect coach for everybody, which is why I do consultations beforehand, because I'll pass you up before I just take your money, and I know that I can't help you in that situation.
Okay.
So I definitely feel like you run into more of that, just narcissistic personalities where, oh, you may not know, like I get it now, I think I'm okay, and
I got it from here.
from this one conversation, you got it. But it's exercises that go along with just helping a client succeed. There's goal setting. I hold you accountable. A lot of people need someone to hold them accountable. They really do. And even I did at one point in time. I needed somebody there just in my ear, just don't forget to focus, because I was young and I was learning myself, and I thank God for those people. But that's what I run into the most.
How do you find, like, are you able to help people find what their purpose is?
So the purpose is a very popular question.
Yes.
Because there's so many people out here that are unhappy because they don't know what their purpose is.
Right.
And I can speak fluently about life coaching and about motivating because it's my joy. Joy and purpose are hand in hand.
Okay.
You're going to know, you're going to feel it because it wakes you up in the morning. It makes you so happy. It's better than a man. It's better than a husband. It's better than a nice outfit. I mean, it brings that much joy into your life. So you have so many people that are lost and they don't know. And it's okay not to know. I didn't even know my purpose for sure until I got in like my late 20s. So I tell my son who gets frustrated about, I don't know, well, it's okay. It's okay not to know. But you have to seek a higher power. I would never, ever mislead someone and say, well, I can tell you what your purpose is. But I would say this. The very thing that you think about all the time, like, oh man, I really would like to be a nurse. And it just keeps coming up. It's just a repetitive thought that's God. And he is speaking to that intuition in you, and he is trying to nudge you. I personally believe your purpose is going to be fulfilled before you leave this earth, one way or another. I've seen people in their 60s go back to taking care of elderly, something they were doing in their 20s, because this was their purpose all along. But they were led astray for whatever reason, and now all of a sudden you're back doing that thing that you were doing at 23. So I believe that you're not going to leave this earth until your purpose is fulfilled. But I sought God, and I prefer to counsel, coach clients that have a spiritual background. You don't have to be Christian. You don't have to have a self-proclaimed religion, but someone
some
that
sort of
believes
spirituality.
in that, yeah, so that they can understand that certain things we will have to come and join together in prayer and allow God to reveal it to us. But I do have a process and homework, for lack of better words, that I send to the clients that are trying to figure out their purpose and things like, do you like to dance, and ask you questions like that to just help you, give you that eye opener, because sometimes that's all you need. I mean, I've talked to people who literally every day they would talk about, oh yeah, I love cooking, and I just love cooking, and one day I want to do a cookbook, and 6 months down the line they're like, I'm glad you know your purpose, Coach T, but I don't know my purpose. And I'm like, well, you kind of talk about cooking all the time. Right. And then it's like a light bulb goes off. You would think that people would know that, but they don't sometimes, so.
Because life happens.
Life happens.
So how can people get information about your services?
So right now I am working on the best website that I can offer.
Won't he do it?
So for right now, for a free consultation, you can email me at TNT, and that's the letters, TNT Growth Project.
That's cute.
At gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram under TNT, the letters TNT _ Growth Project. That page is actually my husband and I. He is a motivational speaker /
how perfect is
life
that?
coach. That's nothing but the Lord, And he motivates me so much. And he is a motivational speaker, so it's like a dual page, that one. But the page that's near and dear to my heart is Real Women's Chronicles.
Ooh.
That is on Instagram. I also just recently started a podcast and a YouTube channel. So it's called Real Women Chronicles.
Nice.
And here I just offer motivation. We talk about breakups. We talk about the things women go through.
Oh, I want to come on. I want to talk.
Please. Oh, please.
Let's do that.
Oh, my gosh, I would love that. I would love, because we just can, women go through so much. And I think there's only so much that my husband can talk about. And sometimes I'm like, let's let the women handle it.
Right, just shush it, boo.
Yeah, so those are the two platforms that I use for my motivation.
Fantastic. So you're a really busy woman, because in addition to being a life coach, you have another business as well.
Yes.
So let's briefly talk about the other business as well.
So I focus on promoting confidence and beauty, and I do that.
We need more of that.
Yeah, I do that, and I needed it when I was coming up, and I couldn't find it, and especially in people in my generation. I had to seek older, confident women, thankfully. But that's what I pushed. So that's how this hairline came about. My sister actually went through leukemia.
Oh, wow.
And she had to go through chemotherapy, and she lost her hair. Now, mind you, she was never a wig wearer.
Okay.
She hated wigs.
Okay.
Now, I've been doing this since back in the day, but she hated wigs. So that was my motivation for the wig line, to find a wig that looks natural, something that's lightweight, and something that you don't know, that you have to wonder if the person is wearing a wig. That's how it started. So right now, the website is wonderwigs.com, and that's wigs with a Z. We offer authentic virgin hair. So we also have, in addition to the wigs, the custom made wigs, we have bundles, we have frontals, we have closures. And back to the wigs are pre-plucked, and that's a big thing in this industry.
What does that mean?
It basically means that you are forming a natural hairline. So some wigs come with a very thick hairline, and you'll watch the YouTube tutorials and watch the girls pluck them with tweezers to get it to look more natural.
Gotcha.
So luckily I found a way to package our wigs already pre-plucked. So that means when they lay on the forehead, they should look like they're coming from the scalp.
Oh, wow.
It shouldn't be that additional plucking to go with it.
Nice.
And we also have a way to build your own wig. So you can start from scratch and literally say, I want this type of cap. So wigs come in 360 caps. They come in full lace caps. They come in lace front caps. They come in closure caps. This website will allow you to build it from scratch.
Oh, wow.
You can say what color you want. Like this fancy color I got here. This is a couple weeks old, but you can say what color you want. You can say the density, how thick you want it. I prefer mine thin. Some people like big hair, so you can go as big as you want. You can go up to 32 inches.
Okay.
And so it's a really fun site.
Nice. Is the wig company on Instagram as well?
Yes, Wonder Wigs.
Okay.
Again, that's Wonder Wigs with a Z.
Okay.
You can find it on Instagram, and I also have a Facebook page for Wonder Wigs.
Fantastic. Is there anything else we didn't hit that you'd like to talk about?
No, not at all. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Thank you guys for joining us for another edition of What's Poppin' the podcast on 93.9 WKYS.